What is that right now? How many sales have you made? What revenue have you generated so far?
So I've made 5 sales, $5,000, just clean,
Five
clean it up.
sales, $5,000 coming in. And
Hmm.
as you look at that, if you can make five sales in a month, you think you can make 10?
100%.
Hey, there he is. What's up, Joseph?
How are you, Kyle?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Thanks for jumping on with us here today. It looks like we already got a bunch of people streaming in here, which is awesome. Let's see who I got here. We got Kara, we got Chris, Hussein, we got Joseph Quinn, Carla, Leonard. I love it. Lydia's in here as well. Guys, if you guys are just popping in here right now, let's see where you guys are tuning in from. Feel free to drop in maybe your city and or country, state, wherever you guys are located at in the world. We would love to kind of go ahead see who is popping in here today. And if this is your first time popping into one of our webinars here today, I haven't met myself yet. My name's Kyle. I'm the Client Success Director here at the Teacher Project. And really, when we think about the Teacher Project, I think one of the coolest things we all have in common is essentially just this desire, this energy to go ahead and want to teach, to want to educate, to want to help people have those light bulb moments. But whether or not we've been in the classroom, other, education institutions, we might not have been able to teach on our own terms, right? Teach what you want, where you want, when you want, be able to charge what you want. So if that's you, you guys are in the right spot. And yeah, we're going to be doing a great client interview here today to kind of show you guys what's possible. Hopefully, some stuff resonates with you guys here today. And we want to go ahead and help you guys make that jump to take your, education influence into that next stage of maybe running your own business, doing your own thing. We can make that happen. So let's see who we got here, Joseph. We got Preeti from New York. I love it. Ottawa, Canada, Utah. There we go. Man, look at that. Hussein, East Africa. That's awesome. We got Chicago, Toronto, England. First visit. Joseph, welcome, man. We're glad to have you in here. Lydia's from Liverpool as well. So, yeah, guys, we're going to have a great session here for you guys today. Really, really excited to go ahead and introduce kind of our next, client interview here. Because I know that in a lot of cases, we bring in a lot of folks that maybe are, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months down the line from maybe when they started here. But in a lot of cases, we might not have folks that have maybe just begun their journey 30 days in, 60 days in. But I think it's super, super important to be able to show you guys what's possible, get your questions answered here, and help you guys see what you could do in the future as well. So I want you guys to go ahead and give it up for my main man, Joseph, here for popping in with us today. Joseph, you want to go ahead, man, and just take maybe 60 seconds here to go ahead and just kind of, share with folks your name, where you're located at, and the subject that you teach, and when you started here at the Teacher Project. Let's start with that first.
Yeah. So thanks, Kyle. I really appreciate it, man. I started at the Teacher Project about a month ago. I think right in the beginning of August. I think August
Yeah.
5th, 6th, something like that. So it's been a little bit over a month. I haven't been with the Teacher Project very long. My name is Joseph, by the way, and I am located in Florida. So I'm in Boca, Florida, doing everything from this little room that I got here.
I love it. Love it. And what do you teach?
So, oh, yeah, and I teach algebra. So I'm like specifically focused on math. Right now, it's specific to algebra 1 and 2, but hopes to branch out later. But right now, just specifically algebra 1 and 2.
I love it. I love it. And guys, you might be wondering, okay, Kyle, you just said, hey, normally you're speaking with people maybe a little bit further down the line, but I just got to tell you, when I'm looking at Joseph here, one of the coolest things is to realize, all right, it doesn't have to take that long to get amazing results. And that is my 1 year old right there wanting to come visit me right now, guys. But we got an interview to run, Joseph, so we're going to stay on point. But you might be wondering, guys, well, what's Joseph been able to achieve here? Well, we're going to be digging into that, but he's been able to go ahead and bring in 5K with his first five students coming in the door within a 30 to 40 day period. So we're going to be digging into that. He's going to be sharing with you guys all about how that has happened here in a very short amount of time. And I just want you guys to know if he can do it, you guys can do it as well. So if you guys are ready to rock and roll and to get into this interview, go ahead, drop the word yes in the chat, and let's go ahead and rock and roll. We got about 23 people in here, Joseph, and I think we're going to be able to answer a lot of questions and be able to inspire a lot of people to start teaching on their own terms, which is great. So Hussein's on board, Mosin's on board. I love it. Let's see a few more yeses in there. All right, there we go. Well, let's go ahead and dive in here, Joseph. So, 30 to 40 days ago, when you were not in the teacher project yet, man, where were you in your tutoring business? What was life looking like? What were some of those challenges that maybe you were running into, pre-teacher project? And then we can talk about what happened here, just over the last month. But where were you, before the teacher project here about a month ago?
Right. So, I had just recently graduated college in May, and I had been doing private tutoring just one-on-one just to pay my rent in college. That was just kind of what I was doing. I learned to like really, really enjoy doing it, but it was yeah, it was exhausting tutoring the amount that I was tutoring.
Mhm.
I wasn't even tutoring that crazy amount of hours, but tutoring when you have to do it for like 3 hours in a row in one day was just very, very tiring. And I knew that I had, things that I had to pay for. So I knew I had to kind of continue to do that while I was unemployed. And so before like the June and July, I was kind of taking on some summer clients, doing one-on-one, tutoring my ass off and really trying to figure out the best way of doing it. And then around like end of July, I was just like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I did what every reasonable Gen Z person would do and asked ChatGPT how to optimize my tutoring business. One of the things that it generated was like group lessons. So I started to like look up on YouTube, like, man, how can I start doing like group lessons and stuff? And that's kind of when the system picked up on what I was looking for, gave me one of the ads to the teacher project. I saw Elliot, tell me I can transform my teaching business into, all of this in such a short period of
Yep.
time. So I clicked on it. And that's kind of how I got into the teacher project.
I love it. I love it. And you mentioned working with students, but working long hours. And was that all one-on-one
It
instruction
was
at that
all one
point?
on one. It was all
Okay.
one on
Yep. And I can relate to that because that's where I was before the teacher project as well. And so I just want everybody to know on here, like whether you are maybe working with students one-on-one right now, or maybe you're in the classroom and you're hoping to start a tutoring business, there's nothing particularly wrong with one-on-one and working with students there, but you will ultimately hit a cap, right? There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many students that you can work with, and I was really pushing it to the max, guys. I was working from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., stretching it out through dinner. But like you said, Joseph, that's exhausting, man. How am I going to have a life when I'm just like sucked into a computer? And I remember Elliot saying, "Yeah, are you in Zoom jail?" That resonated with me. Is that how you felt as
That's
well?
exactly how I felt. I
Yep.
yeah.
And so, as you looked at that, when you kind of started investigating the teacher project, what were some of those things that really stood out to you just in your research?
I mean, I knew that I wanted to do group lessons, and I've always kind of wanted to create a name for myself, but like I graduated with a degree in physics. I had no like, I had a math background, but I had no organizational skills in terms of organizing my like time.
Yep.
I had no direction in how to do it. It felt like such a long path that I didn't even know where to start from. So I didn't know where to go. That's how I felt.
Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of folks, fall into. And I can see on here Hussein just said, I used to do 13 hours only on weekends during uni, everything one-on-one. It sucked. Yeah, Hussein, we all love those light bulb moments that we get from helping students. But man, if we're saying the same thing over and over and over again, it does. It gets a little bit old after a while. And there's only so much, that you can actually earn when you're kind of running a model like that. So we totally get it. But yeah, man, being able to say, all right, there's got to be something different here, right? How can I go ahead and work this? And I love what you said. I didn't have the tools, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? In regards to the organizational skills to maybe figure out the marketing and the sales and even take that to the next level, after getting the foundations in place. Mina says, I worked online with a few students during COVID. Yeah, guys, keep those comments coming. We'd love to kind of just know your guys' backgrounds. And if you guys have questions through this, please let us know. We'd love to answer those for you as well. So when you saw the teacher project and you were like, yeah, game on, I need to go ahead and jump into this. What was your experience like right off the bat from coming in and getting placed in with Coach Nigel and like starting that process? Was it kind of like, yes, I've arrived. I have a clear path now, like a plan to run instead of like just floundering around hoping I could figure it out? Did you feel like you had clear direction coming in here once you signed up?
Very, very clear. I mean, my first interaction was actually with, I'd say, Lex. He was like
Hmm.
my like initial point of contact before I even got to speak with Kyle. And he just gave me the like this was before I even joined on. He just gave me like the math first of all and the facts and how kind of the teacher project is going to help me. And
Yep.
it gave me the missing pieces of information on what I needed, but it didn't give me the direction yet. And then when I like entered the school program, it was like a gold mine, man. I mean, I saw like there are so many things on it. I saw the classroom and I saw that like each one of the lessons were elements of something that I needed help with, especially like video marketing and creating a teacher curriculum. Like I saw that kind of down the line and I knew that that's what I wanted to get to. It made me so eager to like get started on like completing step one,
Yeah.
two, three, four, really figuring those things out, getting that nailed out. But honestly, the community was such a crazy thing in the very, very beginning. I mean, I would just like post and I just couldn't believe that like people would respond and like try to help me with my like small problems and like take time out of their day to like give me like encouragement. And then that's not even talking about the office hours. I think I went on every single office hour for the first 2 weeks, talked to as many new coaches as I can, figured out that every single coach here is like not only went through the program, but is just so unbelievably intelligent and like gives such great actionable advice. So my first 2 weeks was just kind of like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Like I want to use as much of my given situation as I possibly can, you know?
Yeah. And I remember bringing you in, man, and onboarding you, specifically. And I still remember you had this excitement about where you were going, but still you had a little bit of doubt, a little bit of like, can I do this? Can I make this happen? And I specifically remember being like, Joseph, dude, you got this. Like jump in, go 100% into this thing, and there's no way that you're gonna fail. Because again, like what you said, there's so many areas here at the Teacher Project, from the community, from the office hours to meeting up with your coach. And it sounds like, man, that you just took advantage of all of that and said, yeah, I don't want to just have one coach. I want to go ahead and expand my network to meet the other coaches and like build your team. Was that your thought process coming
That
into
was
this?
my thought process. Yeah. I mean, this was all before I actually met. So Nigel's my coach. This was all before I actually got on my first call with Nigel. I think once I actually got on a call with Nigel, I think he kind of hated me for the first 2 weeks because I just text him every single day being like, yo, I want to do this. I want to do this. How do I do this? How do I do this? But he was so awesome. He responded to everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
Well,
was kind of my experience.
I love that. I love that. So anybody watching right now, like if you guys are maybe outside of the teacher project right now and wondering, hey, can I jump into this? Do I have to be an expert in everything? And the answer is no, right? We have to just come in with a willingness to want to learn. And if you need to figure out how to do marketing, we're going to teach you. If you have to figure out how to do sales, don't worry, we're going to teach you. If you got to figure out how to even run your group programs and you don't know how to do that because you've never done it, that's okay. We're going to teach you how to do that as well. We really just have to have that willingness to want to educate students, to teach, to put the work in and the time, and to make it happen. And our entire program is going to surround you with all the support that you need. Now, do you need to take that initiative to utilize the support? Yes. We can't force it on you and have you like go ahead and jump into everything, but it's always there if you guys are searching for an answer. And Joseph, you've been searching, man, even before you jumped on with Nigel, which is really, really cool. So I love that. Who's another coach that you've kind of tapped into quite a bit here at the Teacher Project?
I mean, I've tapped in with a lot of them. I think Kent, especially Kent and Katie, both of them, I always go onto their office hours because Kent always has really good advice, specifically because he's a math guy and he gives me really good information pertaining about my specific area of teaching. And then
Hmm.
Katie's so smart. Everything that
She
Katie
is so
says, yeah,
smart, man.
she's
She
smart,
runs a
man.
$250,000 a year business
Yeah,
and she's figured some stuff out. And that's the thing. Being able to chat
correct.
with these folks that have been ahead of you a little bit, man, you can learn a lot.
Exactly. And they're all great speakers. And that was a big thing that I was trying to learn as well. I wanted to become a better presenter, better speaker, more confident,
Yeah.
everything that I was saying. So people hear me talk and they're like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust him.
There
Yeah.
we go. There we go. I love that. And I've watched a couple of your sales calls, man, and your passion just comes out and your ability to build rapport. is awesome. And you've been continuing to perfect that over time, which is great. And I'm looking at the chat. Looks like Amina just signed up for the teacher project. Amina, welcome to the program. We're happy to have you here in the community. And no worries, we're going to find the right person for you that's going to help guide you here in your tutoring journey, help you find the best time to work with a coach. So, yeah, we're excited to have you in here. So, fast forward a little bit. So, you came in, right, just ready to rock and roll, giving it 100%. And one of the biggest things that we say is that, well, people can't work with us unless they know we exist. We got to get our voice out there, our word out there, our message out there. And a lot of that comes down to utilizing, paid ad strategies to really do that in a quick way. Did you find that to be something that you got up pretty quick?
Yeah, I mean, I started my paid advertisements as quick as possible and I started learning that for sure. The way I got my first few clients was actually not through paid
You did
advertisements.
warm outreach, right? Starting
I
to reach
did.
out to people while that was getting going. Is that right?
Correct. I mean,
Yeah.
I was working real hard. I was perfecting ads, but it took me like a few weeks to really get that down and get that pipeline down and learn
Yep.
all that stuff. But while I was doing that, I mean, I was doing warm outreach to an absurd amount to the point where I'd like post on my Instagram that I'd be doing this, but my audience is like my people my age, like 21-year-olds. And so I got actually a lot of like I wouldn't say hate, but a lot of people that were just like kind of making fun of what I was doing in the very beginning. And
Yep.
it's just like that's how it was, you know? And I was just like, I feel like this is how it's gonna be. Like people are just not gonna understand what I'm doing. But
Oh yeah.
in my eyes, it was like they're hating on me, but at least they know that I'm tutoring. So now they know in the back of their head that if someone that they hear about, a parent or a friend, needs some tutoring in math, they know that even though they made fun of me, that I'm doing it. And so they can spread
Yeah.
the word.
And
So that
that's
was
the
my
thing
idea.
we got to all realize, right? Is that when we put ourselves out there, we're opening ourselves up to that. And that's okay, right? If we know, if we're stable in who we are and what we're trying to do, yeah, are there going to be a few people that go ahead and try to take us down or say a nasty comment? Yeah. But we're like, we don't care about you. We care about connecting with those students and those families that are struggling out there that need our help in algebra or science or reading or whatever that is. And I know, man, that you were like pounding the pavement. And can you explain, just for anybody watching, while we're kind of working on getting your ads going, yeah, we're trying to do a little bit of organic or warm outreach. Can you explain what that is to everybody kind of watching right now?
Like how I did my warm outreach.
Well, just what it is in general. Like, what does warm outreach even mean?
Warm outreach is anyone that you can reach that you have a direct contact with. So if you have the ability to contact them, it's essentially like, and you know them or they follow you on your in the Instagram or any socials, or if you can contact them because you have their contact on the phone, that's a warm outreach. It's someone that you kind of know, even if it's like really, really close or kind of through a friend. It's someone who knows about you in some sense. Okay.
Sure. Yep. And that's going to be the key thing, guys, to realize is that whether or not we know somebody in our initial, I would say, sphere, there's always people that know other people that know other people, right? And so by spreading that message, reaching out, Joseph's been able to go ahead, not only build a connection, but also go ahead and book those calls in, man, and like fill everybody in on what that was like going through that first initial phase, right? Because we say, hey, the first time you put an ad out there, it's probably not going to be the one that wins. The first time you take a sales call is not the one that you close. Can you fill everybody in on that journey? Because I think it's really important for people to understand this isn't a get rich quick scheme where it just happens immediately. Like you got to put the work in and you got to go through the trials in order to develop some of these skills. But once you got it, it's there. What's your story looked like, man, over those first couple weeks of getting those calls booked in?
So initially, before I had anyone booked, my entire mentality was I wanted everyone in my community to know that this is what I'm doing right now with my life. Like that's what my goal is. I didn't really care how they thought about it. I just wanted them to know about it. Okay.
Hmm.
And once I kind of felt like I got that message out through just many, many hours of sitting there repeating, you know, text messages and just getting in contact with people. I actually got some people that were referring me through the warm outreach. Then I ended up basically booking in some calls. And I would book in these calls, and this was actually before even I got into the sales training on the course. I didn't even get there yet. But I was on these calls and I was trying it, and I will say that the first probably 10 calls or so I sucked. Like I was terrible. I did not know what I was doing. I was just trying really hard to like show my passion, and I was kind of selling a program that didn't even exist yet, which was a crazy thing for me, right?
Yep.
Like you're actually selling yourself on something that you haven't even created yet. You're selling yourself on the idea of something that you will create later. So it was a really interesting first few weeks, but like I think people just really reacted to like my passion. And after like 7 or 8 or 9 like failed calls, I had one day, and this was one of the craziest days, where I got on a call with someone in the morning at 11 a.m. and they were so excited. And within like an hour of that sales call, I booked them in and they actually paid me money right away, which was like the first time that has ever really happened. Like they paid me $1,000 just right there. Okay. Which was nuts. And I started celebrating. I went to my parents and I was like, oh my God, look at this. They did that. But I had more sales calls on that day. So 30 minutes after I got that sale, and this was, by the way, this is after about a week of being on calls, getting no money. 30 minutes after I got the first $1,000, I got on another call with someone and they reacted in even a more excited way and paid me another $1,000 just 30 minutes after I had received the $1,000 from previous. So it was this one day where I got $2,000 just like that. And it was my first two sales I've ever made in the program. And it was in the same day in the same 2 hours. I don't know what luck shone on me on that time, but it was definitely after those two sales calls, I was able to kind of narrow down what I did differently on those calls. And I wouldn't have been able to be so confident about it if I didn't fail like 7 times before and realize my
Hmm.
mistakes that I made.
Yeah. It's one of those things that as you go through those trials, right, you might not get the outcome that you want, but you learn something. You pick up a tip, you pick up a skill, you use it in the next one. You continue to refine that process until that moment arrives, right? I think I told you on your onboarding call, it's not a question of if you get there, it's a question of when you're going to get there. 3 calls, 5 calls, 10 calls, whatever that may be. And so, as you were looking at that outcome, what kind of went through your head, and maybe on future calls since then, because you've closed some more, what are maybe 1 to 2 things that you might be able to share with folks here just in regards to like, wow, this is so key, like on a sales call to like not forget or to maybe structure it a certain way. Does anything stand out to you?
I'd say, especially when you're trying to get your first few calls, when you haven't like organized everything in your program yet, and really what you're selling is more even yourself than some program, is just absolute and utter passion and confidence in yourself. Even if deep down you're having doubts, like you just it really does a lot for your mental too, is just to like sit there in front of a parent and be like, I will help your teen or your kid like get from this result to this result. Okay? And I know that I will do it. It's almost like passion in yourself and confidence in yourself that you will do this. That was the most valuable thing that I did, I'd say, in the first few sales calls.
Yeah. It's just again, kind of Coach Dalton has talked to us about this where it's like, hey, what am I going to write down maybe 10 to 15 to 20 things about what makes my program valuable, right? I'm not a commodity. I am providing something of value here. And once we have that in our mind, it really takes us out of that imposter syndrome, that lack of confidence, right? Where we're not standing on our own 2 feet, but essentially being able to take those steps, Joseph, is so important, man, when you're coming into those first couple calls. And yeah, Mina said, let's see here. How do you decide about the fees for an hour for tutoring? I think that's an interesting question that she's kind of dropping in there because we really don't charge that way when we think about the hours. We go ahead and price things on results and, sell our program from there. Do you want to share or just provide a little bit of feedback on that, Joseph? It's just pricing.
Right. So I always thought about, first of all, the length of my program. I
Hmm.
decided to do like a 12-week one, and that's kind of what I was selling. As for hourly, I had been charging like 60 to $70 an hour through my one-on-one. So I kind of lowered that a little bit and thought, okay, if I'm gonna do 2 lessons per week for 12 weeks, that's 24 lessons, at like 40, $50 an hour, that's roughly a $1,000 program. And so that was like just like very quick. It took me like 5 minutes to be like, okay, I'm just gonna start at 1,000. Okay, I'm just gonna start at 1,000, and the way that I'm gonna sell it is I'm gonna be like, the program is $1,200, but because of this like deal that I'm doing, I'm gonna do a one-time charge of 1,000. And in
Hmm.
fact, I had never had a plan of selling the program for 1,200. I was going to say that no matter what. I didn't even set up the payment link for 1,200 when I was doing that. It was just always going to be $1,000 program. And that's how I kind of did it initially. I have definitely have plans now to increase that price, but that's how
Yep.
I did it.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, that makes sense that in the program we actually, if folks are coming in and they don't really have a lot of sales experience or they're a little bit of unsure about themselves, we always say, hey, start with a program price of about 750 bucks. If you make your first three sales at that price point, hey, that's the market telling us we are able to go ahead and raise our price. Maybe we make it 950. You get three more sales, let's up it again to maybe 1100. You get three more sales, let's up it again, right? Because your confidence is getting better. You're going to go ahead and develop more skills. I was just on a call the other day, didn't blink a second at saying $2,800 because I've sold at that price point over and over and over again, right? And once you go ahead and sell at a higher price point, you realize, yeah, I have an amazing program. I can go ahead and charge this. But in the beginning, we might not believe it yet. So if we don't believe it, how is a parent going to believe it? Right? And so we got to work ourselves up to really embody that identity of selling at that higher price point. So I hope that helps, that there's not anything that you need to like lock in place right now. But yeah, Hussein says, I'm assuming a lot of tutoring requires homework being done by the students. That's where the whole resource website comes in from the book. What happens when they come unprepared? So that's interesting. Hussein, as we think about students coming unprepared, I would essentially say that that is a leadership issue, if I have to be perfectly honest, because if students are coming unprepared, we might not have set the expectation well enough on the front end. I know for my ACT test prep program, I lay it out exactly how my students need to show up, exactly what they need to do, how to get support, the actions they need to take. And then from there, if things are not, prepared or things are not done, now we have to learn how to have a hard conversation and be able to address that and draw a line in the sand and make sure that somebody's moving forward from there as well. Joseph, have you started your programs yet?
I did actually. Yesterday was my first group lesson actually, which was
Hmm.
nuts. But
So he's
that was
just off and running. So Joseph, you might be experiencing some of these things. And so just
I am.
realize if I had one of our mentors tell us, if things are happening in your business or with your students that you don't necessarily like, you don't like what people are doing, well, guess what? You get what you tolerate at the end of the day. So if you're kind of like, oh, hopefully you do better next time on that homework, well, they're going to repeat that behavior, right? So learning how to have hard conversations to show that you really, really care about someone, but at the same time, you want to go ahead and address a particular behavior that is not serving that person. Those are conversations that you can definitely have and realign the ship, make sure you're in sync, and then move forward from there. So, yeah, key things there as well. So, yeah, when you kind of think about just the revenue that you've generated so far here, Joseph, what is that right now? How many sales have you made? What revenue have you generated so far?
So I've made five sales, $5,000. Just
Five
clean it up.
sales, $5,000 coming in. And
Mhm.
as you look at that, if you can make five sales in a month, you think you can make 10?
100%.
100%. What makes you so confident?
Because I know that I'm only getting better. Like that's just the truth. It's just like I'm only getting better. I'm only getting smarter. I'm only gaining more and more experience by the second. And that's not to say that there aren't going to be hard times. There aren't going to be plateaus. Like I'm kind of experiencing one right now. Haven't made a sale in like a week and a half, but I know that the sales call that I have in an hour is, going to be another chance for me to try again. And the better I get at it, the more sales I can generate, just the more sales calls I can generate, the more sales I'll get. So I'm just
Yeah.
very confident in my abilities to get 10.
I love that. I love that. So as you kind of look ahead, man, what's the next barrier that you're looking to get over here? The next thing that you're hoping to learn?
The next thing that I'm hoping to learn, I want to completely optimize paid advertisements. Like completely optimize that and really get into a rhythm of getting on or moving people through my pipeline and getting people on a Zoom call. So I'm really trying to, that's my main focus right now. Once that is started, I am probably my next step is to actually hire someone. That's going to be the next one because
Mhm.
when you're starting out, you are the tutor, you are the sales team, you are the finance guy, you are everyone. And I can already see as my clients will start to increase, it's going to be harder and harder for me to do that. So I'm going to hire a tutor. That's kind of my next goal. And then after that, it's to reach a 10K a month. That's the
Yep.
next, like money goal is to 10K a month and start doing that.
Well, I have to just ask, and then we'll dive into some questions here because I'm seeing a lot of folks dropping in some sales questions. So, guys, we'll definitely get to this and give you guys some value here today, either from myself or from Joseph. But, when you came into this program and hadn't made a sale yet, that had to be really, really powerful, to even like walk up to your dad and be like, look what I did, right? And then to think, man, you know what? How cool would that be? Not only to show 5 sales, but to say, dude, dad, look, I generated 10K in a month, which seems crazy, maybe right now, but what would that mean to you, man, to be able to go ahead and share that news?
I mean, it was nice to even share that I made $2,000 from doing this after, kind of taking this jump and leap. What it would mean to get $10,000, show that to him, a lot, man. Like that'd be really cool. Like words can't even describe it. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do.
What would change in your overall life if you were able to go ahead and, generate, even not if it was 10, like even like a regular 5K per month and then pushing forward from there, what would change?
I mean, I could finally start like paying off my student loans, which is huge for me right now. That's a big one. I'd really want to help my family out, start to organize my life a little bit and just, that's kind of like the money goals too. But like, honestly, I just want to help more people. I feel like especially specifically with the math curriculum, like it's been going so down as of recent, especially after COVID, that one-on-one not only limited me with the money, but it limited me with the amount of people that I can like affect. And
Hmm.
so just even being able to like start to do this and have the idea that I'm going to be able to possibly even like tutor 40 people at the same time and not like, or like, have 4 group lessons going, have like 40 kids in the combined groups instead of like the maximum that I can have one-on-one is 7. That's just a huge thing for me as well.
Yeah, I love that. And guys, I hope for everybody watching, whether it's live or on the replay, I want you guys to hear what Joseph said. He said, man, it's not even just about the money, it's about that impact that I can have on students. And when I look at everybody here at the Teacher Project, I think we all have that heart to want to give, to serve, to help. And when that's your driving force, guess what? The finances will come, the money will come, the income will come because when you help people, that's a necessary byproduct from there. So Joseph, you're spot on, man. Spot on here. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat here. If any of you guys are thinking, you're like, man, I really love to teach. It's really part of me. It's at the core of who I am. But I want to do this on my own terms. I want to be able to, again, teach the subjects I want. I don't want to be inside the school system with all the bureaucracy and politics and safety issues. I want to do this on my own. I want to have a remote business to travel around. I want to be able to schedule my classes, not one-to-ones, but figure out how to do group programs and charge what I'm worth at the end of the day. Click that link, guys. One of our team members would be happy to go ahead and just help you guys understand some of the facts, right? Get the information you need to make an informed decision. And we can help a lot of folks. If that's you, fantastic. We will go ahead and get you in here. In certain cases, we might not be able to serve, those needs, but we need to chat with you first in order to figure out what that is. So definitely click that link down below. We'd be happy to give you any information that you need in regards to the teacher project or how we serve our clients here. Let's see, there was a few questions that we kind of blew past here. Hussein said 750 is realistic for the US. What if you are from a third world country? You got to then standardize those prices. Depending on which country you're in, you can definitely go ahead and see how those prices, are laid out. Like the Canadian market's a little bit different than the US market. US is a little bit different than the UK. Scotland, everyone says the way their culture's set up, they're a little bit different as well. But in all honesty, like Hussein, I will just go ahead and say most of our like insecurities around money are internal as opposed to the other people that we're actually talking to. So don't let yourself say, oh, just because I'm in this country, I have to charge less. No, like work on yourself. We can go ahead and get through that. Let's see here. Work out. John says, how do you work out where the starting point is for the student? Do you teach everyone individually? So that'll be an interesting question, Joseph, as you're kind of walking through kind of where you're at. And again, for the most part, when you're looking at groups, we try to get folks that are in the same starting point so that they're not like a second grader, a fourth grader, and an eighth grader. What feedback can you give to John there, Joseph, just in regards to like how you grouped your students for this first go?
Right. Well, okay. The way that I have started to do that was, and again, I'm still figuring this out myself, but this is how I'm doing it right now, is that there's technically four groups that I can go into. And there's, the Algebra 1 group and the Algebra 2 group. And each in Algebra 1, I think about like a higher level group and a lower level group. And in Algebra 2, I think about a higher level group and a lower level group. And so I usually put kids in, I'm planning on putting kids in based on those groups, but I also have like a starting assessment as well that they usually do. And they'll
Hmm.
do this starting assessment. It's mostly like if it's an Algebra 2 course, it's mostly like all of the Algebra 1 stuff to see if they know that and actually belong in the Algebra 2 group. But those four levels right there give me a really good like spread on groups that I
Yep.
can already build just right there. And I can
Yep.
handle myself for now like four groups. That's kind of what I have determined in my brain that like four groups of tutoring is something that I could do.
Yep, absolutely. So John, hopefully that helps you kind of understand that as well. But yeah, just from a marketing standpoint, we really want to try to dial that marketing in as tight as we can so that any folks we're pulling in are in that same age range, like Joseph here, like eighth to ninth grade, right? So you're not getting like a sixth grader and a 10th grader. And yeah, those are pretty far spaced, but we can go ahead and tighten that up moving forward. Amina asks, for how long should the program be as things work out on a semester basis or term basis in a year? So yeah, I mean, when you look at that, if you're working with a student, it could be 12 weeks or 16 weeks. If you're working with math or working with science, maybe you go for the semester to get them through that and you can charge, higher amounts for that semester course that you're working through. We also have folks that sign students up for an entire year and they're able to charge 4 grand, 5 grand for like an entire year to get students success there as well. So hopefully that helps. Leonard brought in, how long are your sales calls? Joseph, how long have your sales calls typically been running?
Well, the failed ones were like 15 minutes long. The ones where I started to actually get the sales were over 30 minutes, you
Yep.
know? They were somewhere in between like 30 and 45 minutes. And as I've been getting better and better at it, the more time that you can spend like almost priming your potential client to your program, like the better. And so I'd say like what?
Yep.
Do you agree with me, Kyle? Like 30 to 45 minutes, probably even more, maybe?
Yeah, well, you said something important there. You said, if you have a call that ranges from 30 to 60 minutes there, you are really being able to dive into a deep discovery to really understand what your student and family are saying. And like you said, you're priming them, little seeds, little anecdotes here and there, where it's like, wow, we're actually already selling and we're getting somebody to cross the line already. So yeah, I would agree with you there, Joseph. And so Leonard, how long are your sales calls? I usually book mine for about 60 minutes because that gives me the opportunity to do a deep discovery in the first, I would say, 10 to 15 to 25 minutes. That's rapport building, pre-frame, discovery. Moving in between like minute 30 to 40, I'm usually explaining our program, doing an investment drop, and then using the last, 10, 15 minutes, any minor objection handling, and then onboarding the student into the program is typically how I've, laid things out. So I typically have about 60 minutes there. Nicole says, I really like how you started with the $1,000 program there, Joseph. Nice job. Going ahead, proving it to yourself. What's your next price jump going to be? Just curious.
It's going to be 1250.
1250. I like it. One thing that I found, just as a little caveat, and this could help other people as well, that instead of saying 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, like whenever you hear the word thousand, that sounds higher priced. But if you say 1,200, 1,400, 1,800, 2,100, for some reason psychologically the word hundred just lands a little bit better and just kind of flows off the tongue, which is good. Let's see here. Kara says, can you explain how your sessions look if you have 5 students from different grade levels, or do you teach a specific skill? I think we actually already addressed that like we wouldn't have multiple grades in one particular program because you'd have lower or higher at that point. Let's see here. Leonard Joseph says, are you selling to a parent or a student or both? I'm aiming at grade 11 chemistry. This is a great question for you, Joseph. What have you found in that
I
space?
found that it's if you can get both the parent and the student on the call at the same time, that is always better. All right. And I will, and you kind of get a bunch of things. Like one time I actually got like just a student on the sales call, which I was like, wow, that's weird. Usually you at least get the parent. Most of the time I just get the parent on the call. And I'll always kind of start with being like, like, what's your teen's name? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, are they like around? Or can they come in? Because I really like to start to develop the connection with them because they're the ones that, like, I need to sell to the parent, but I need to win over the kid, you know?
Yes.
And so I need to get the kid believing in himself, and I need the parent to get them to believing in me. So
Yep.
always better to have both.
Yep, I love that. So Leonard, hopefully that answers your question, and I'll just add a little extra to that. This all comes down to the pre-frame, right? Whenever you are booking someone in for a call, how you explain that to them. So Joseph said, "Oh, I ended up on a sales call and it was just the student." Guys, that's an automatic. We are going to reschedule this call so that the student and parent can be there because I've had hour-long conversations with students where they're like, "Yeah, I'll go talk to my parent. We'll talk to you later." That never walks through, right? So whenever you're booking a call, just always be able to pre-frame it and say, awesome. Well, let's go ahead. I'd recommend we book in a call with you, your daughter, your husband, so that we can dig into their situation a little bit more, understand what's going on, and we can see if we can help. What day or time works best for you? So automatically pre-framing, you're going to be there, your student's going to be there. If you have a husband, whatever, wife, spouse, whatever that may be, they're going to be there as well. And that just helps because, like you were saying, Joseph, I got to win over the student, but the decision maker is the parent. Who has the cash in order to make the deal happen? The parent. And so we always want to be engaging the student and engaging the parent throughout those conversations, which is key. So, guys, drop a yes down in the chat if you guys are getting some value out of this, learning some sales skills here moving forward. Drop a yes in the chat. I'm also going to drop that link in here as well again. If you guys missed it earlier, feel free to click that link. We would love to have you in here as part of the Teacher Project community. Like Joseph was saying, he was blown away even before he even met his coach. He came in with me on the onboarding call, was able to go ahead and get plugged into the community, and it was amazing right off the bat. And so we got even more stuff coming here in the fourth quarter, really, as of this week, that I want to go ahead and share with you guys as well. But let's hit the last few questions, and I'll share with you guys what we got coming down the pipeline here that I think is going to help you guys a ton. So let's see here. How much does it cost to set the ads and the marketing? Yeah, so setting up the ads, there is no cost to set up the ads. In regards to the marketing, you guys have an option. We basically say, hey, start out around that $150 a month, which is about $5 a day. And so as you guys are spending that cash, again, we call it ROAS, return on ad spend. Let's say that you spent $150 for the month. Now let's just do even numbers. $100 for the month, but you took in $1,000 payment, right? You technically would have a ROAS of 10x. $100 went in, $1,000 came out for that particular sale. And so we just want you guys to be able to look at that. Now, we have folks that are spending more than that because they've done the math, they've seen the tracking in order to kind of understand, well, how much does it cost for me to get X amount of bookings? That's all stuff that we put into our tracking sheets. Joseph, have you started digging into that to kind of track all your data?
Absolutely. I mean, I've probably tested now like 4 or 5 or I think 6 at this point ads. I usually test them. And what I mean by test them is I usually set them at like a $5 to $10 daily limit and I'll run it for like a week. And,
Mhm.
the program gives you a really clear indicator on how to track it and see if it's like a winning ad or not a winning ad. And if it's not, I'll shut it off. I'll create a new one and I'll test that one. I'll test, what there's so many things that you can do, but a good starting point to like test if it's winning is like a $10. And if it is, I've actually increased one of my ads to $30 a day already. And
Yep.
it's gotten me some really high value.
There we go. So again, guys, we don't make decisions based on our feelings. We make decisions based on the data. That's what it takes to be a business owner, right? We don't want to be making decisions on impulse, on emotion, right? That's a quick way to fail. That's why we teach you guys exactly how to set up your ads, exactly how to track them to get the data that you need. And this is all systematic at the end of the day. And if you guys are like, Kyle, I'm not an expert in that. Amazing. Neither was I, right? This is about becoming a student again, growth mindset, right? We're not teachers, we're business owners. We're going to go ahead and become those students here moving forward. So, Camden, just quick question. Yeah, I'd probably start if you were doing 1,000, start with a 12-week course, build some confidence, and then you can always build it back from there. John, where are you advertising your ads? Instagram, etc. Joseph, you want to field that one? Where do we have you guys
So
advertising? and social media?
Mostly Facebook, I'd say. Facebook is
Yep.
like the number one. That's where all the parents are doom scrolling at night. So
Yep. Yep.
they'll see, algebra, I'll help the teen. And if, even if I catch them at a time where their kid came back with a bad test result, that's it. It's golden.
Yep. And that's the key, guys. Like, where is that demographic at that might be in the age range from, 30s to, 60s or so? It's going to be right on Facebook. But are there other options in regards to Instagram, TikTok? Yeah, there's a lot of different avenues. Primarily where we're focusing, though, is Facebook. And so, yeah, I'm going to show you guys something real quick here because this is something we're rolling out now for new clients coming in. So if that's you and you're like, yeah, game on, let's get off and running here. I'm just going to share my screen here with you guys. Hopefully you guys can see this. So yeah, guys, we are actually rolling out our new group launch accelerator program here. So we had our 3.0 system, we have our 4.0 system here. This is I would say, the collective labor of our entire success team here over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 to 5 months that we've been pouring into this day in, day out to make sure that this is the easiest, the simplest, the most frictionless process for you guys to go from ground zero to getting your predictable marketing engine built, get your Facebook ads to figure out tracking, to go ahead and learn all the details around sales, to going ahead and figuring out how to run your group programs. I am so proud of the program that we've put together here, and we're really breaking it up into kind of two phases here. Our launch phase, which gets you through step one, step two, step three, step four, and our accelerator phase that we're going to be walking you guys through as well. But when we look at like the launch phase, it's really all about clarity and it's all about getting your voice and your message out there. So maybe you have questions around your signature tutoring offer and you're like, I don't even know what I need to be like focusing in on, whether that's science or math or reading or algebra. Guess what? Fully updated, ready to go so that you guys can go ahead and get very clear on that. And you guys might be asking yourself, well, how do I even figure out how to figure out what program I'm going to run? Well, guess what, guys? Coach Dalton, who is our impact coach, our highest level program here at the Teacher Project, she has poured everything that she knows into our second module here. So if you're looking to figure out the foundations of your group program, defining it, how to pre-sell it, how to go ahead and choose the different elements of your program, how to define the price, how to figure out your schedule, figure out onboarding. This is all about clarity so that you can just walk through it step by step by step. And guess what? You got your offer, you got your program there, complete clarity, so that you guys can move into step three and step four and get your voice out there. Like Joseph was saying, I don't have everything built yet, but I have clarity on the idea. I have clarity on the vision. And that's what you need, that confidence to get your marketing out there and learn, hey, how do I set up my social media profile? How do I go ahead and build out my ads here as well? And our marketing expert, Ali, has done a complete refresh on this ad launch here. And essentially, guys, this is all fully up to date with every one of the, I would say, meta specifics in regards to their dashboards. Everything is crystal clear. Like I said, we're super, super pumped about that. And once you guys go ahead and get your ads out there, guess what? You're going to be able to move into our accelerator phase of this program, learn about lead follow-up, how to reach out to clients, how to go ahead and walk through your sales. That's what we were primarily talking about today on our call here with Joseph. Maybe you guys need to understand, how do I build rapport? How do I do that deep discovery that we talked about? How do we go ahead and have the transition, the offer, the price drop? And how do I handle that objection handling as well at the end of the call? So, guys, we have all of this built out. Rob, he's our sales expert here at the Teacher Project, did a phenomenal job building this down and making it super, super easy for you guys to jump in. And then finally, guys, how do we improve the marketing? How do we do organic marketing and get those programs up and running? Maybe you don't know how to run a group program because you've never done it. No worries. Dalton took care of that as well. Maybe you need to learn about classroom management, building a curriculum, online teaching tools that make life easier for you guys, how to track your students, how to upgrade students. it is all there throughout our new course. And so, yeah, I'm just super, super excited that you guys, if you guys are coming into this program, are going to get access to our Group Launch Accelerator 4.0 system. And like I said before, the best program that I think we've ever pushed out because it has our collective success team members' DNA right inside of it from every aspect of the team. So, really excited about that. Let me go to the chat here real quick. Guys, if you think that that would be helpful for you, like Joseph was saying, a step-by-step approach, drop a yes in the chat down below because, again, I think it's all about clarity. It's all about taking those steps here in the program. And if you guys need to go ahead and speak with anybody about that, I'm just dropping that link down here below as well. All right. So, Joseph, man, we got about 5 minutes here left. I know that you've learned a lot, even in the short period of time that you've been here. What would be maybe 1 to 2 gold nuggets that you can kind of leave everybody with here today? Amina, John, Coretta, Leonard, yeah, Michael. What 2 gold nuggets can you leave with them?
I'd say, the program does a really good job about getting the specifics, but one thing that I will say is there's going to be times when you're sitting there and you just like are so overwhelmed. You're learning so many new things and you want to get everything right, but you just have to like take action. Like even if it's going to be wrong, even if that's going to be the incorrect action, and even if you're going to lose a client because of it, you need to like go and take it because you will learn from it and you can sit and you can like be overwhelmed or you can really try to like sit there, take some action, organize yourself and get going and just try something even if it won't work. And so
Yep.
don't be a perfectionist is probably my biggest struggle because I always want everything to be perfect, but I've had to really struggle. I've had to really just go and do something. Every single day, even if I don't ever to have a million tasks to do, I settle on one and I just do it. That's it.
Yep. That's the key thing, man, is to realize, yeah, it's not about doing a billion things. It's about saying, hey, what's the one thing I can do today? What's the next right next step? And as Amina says, Amina, I just want to give you credit for just being so active in this chat. And again, I know you signed up for the teacher project. Bring the same attitude and same energy into the program. You're going to do great. But she said perseverance and persistence is essential. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, guys, if you're in a position right now, because I know we only got a few minutes left, but if you're in a position where you're just like, man, I want to change. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired right now, being maybe in the classroom again, dealing with those issues from bureaucracy to politics to I just can't teach what I want, or I have to teach a certain curriculum that I don't agree with, or I don't trust, or I don't value anymore. I know a better way to teach and get through to students and make a difference and have an impact moving forward. I'm telling you guys, this is the place to do it. You want to be with a group of people that have done it before, that are continuing to build and to thrive and to grow every single day. That's what we got going here at the Teacher Project. So if it is something that you guys are interested in, please click the link down below. We'd be happy to speak with you. Until then, we'll catch you on the next interview here. Joseph, man, thanks again for carving out some time, jumping on this interview here today. Any last minute thoughts before we jump off today?
No, I just say that this was the one of the best decisions I've made was to join, and I'm just really excited because I know like I have the plan for the future and I know that it's gonna completely change my life.
Yeah, I love it, man. Congrats again, Joseph, on the success here early on in the program, man. This is just the beginning. Keep telling yourself that, write that down, and let's go ahead. Let's hit the double digits here over the next month, get up to 10. And I think that's really going to open up your mind as to what's possible and what you can do here. So, all right, Amina, thank you for joining us. Who else on here? John. Yeah. Carista, thank you guys for joining us. We will catch you on the next video. Joseph, have a good rest of your day, man.